Hey guys, and welcome to No Bullshit with me, Becca Lori Hector, Bullshit Detector. I am your truth teller, and this is your Matrix moment of the week. Well, you guys, I have stuff to talk about. I mean, things I've been thinking about, in the last week, and I've been kind of feeling down about the response I'm getting to the YouTube videos and the channel, and kind of what I'm doing with it and the stuff I'm putting out there. And so I've been kind of trying to figure out what I could do to tweak what it is that I'm doing here on No Bullshit with you guys. Besides just, I guess, talking about what's going on current in my life, is sort of to try and figure out what you guys want out there. What is the information that you guys are looking for from me? And how can I share what I want to share with you in the same way? And so I spent like a good chunk of this week, I guess, sort of scrolling through YouTube, subscribing to different channels, all different kinds of topic matter, some serious, some not serious, some things that I'm interested in, some things I'm not interested in. But I wanted to see kind of like what was out there, right? And what people were doing and things like that. So that being said, I think what I found out also what I didn't like. I'm going to be honest. There were things there that I probably won't ever do, stuff that I didn't really think was interesting, stuff that I don't think adds to the whole situation, especially not this situation. So I'm going to be tweaking some things. I think you guys are going to like it. I hope I'll be adding and taking away things here and there until we get a good formula, until I can get you guys to share these videos. If I can get you to share it, then I can keep putting them out. In any case, so yeah, that's what I was thinking about. And one of the things that I noticed that, mug of the week, there it is. I might have done this one already. It's a favorite of mine. There's nothing better than a big old fat scruffy cat giving you a finger, because I do what I want now. In any case, so I was scrolling around, and one of the things that a lot of people are doing is taking questions from their viewers. And I was like, you know what, this is a really good thing. When I do speaking engagements, I can almost do half a speaking engagement and leave the other half for questions from the audience. And I love those. I love being able to give real-time advice. I love being able to give people what they're looking for out of an experience. And I like being a resource for people. That's something I really enjoy. So I guess one of the things I'm going to start with is opening up to questions for you guys. So I think each episode, I'm going to talk about something that I want to call bullshit on, some of the stuff that I want to kind of exercise from my life a little bit, and then I'm going to take a question that you guys submit. Sometimes you ask the same questions a lot, and so this week I'm going to start with the questions that I get most often from you guys. And we'll start there, and maybe that'll encourage you, inspire you to go ahead and ask me some questions. But first, I'm going to tell you what I'm calling bullshit on for this week. I think that this week I want to call bullshit on, I guess, how would I phrase it? What is the way that I want to describe this to you? I want to call bullshit on feeling isolated from your own community. That's what I want to call bullshit on. That's the best way I can phrase it. I think, within the autism community, we have a lot of battles in line, and I think there's a bunch of us that have agreed. We think it's a giant waste of energy to sort of be fighting amongst ourselves. And out of that, we've sort of created, I think, a really helpful support network for advocates. So kind of, one of us, you get to know all of us, and kind of, we take care of our own. And at least that was sort of how I was feeling about my community and how I was feeling a part of my community. But as of this last sort of incident, I'm feeling really detached from my community, and I'm feeling really unsupported. Not just in that particular situation, but when I stepped back and I did that whole looking at my plate thing and deciding where I wanted to give away my time and not give away my time, what I noticed is, you kind of take a look at your life and you say, well, who are the people that I can count on and who are the people that I'm giving away energy to that don't give it back, right? Who aren't there when you're struggling, who aren't cheering you on the way you cheer them on, stuff like that. That's what I was thinking about. And I think that's where the noticing that my videos weren't being shared, things like that, was really starting to annoy me. And so I have to say to myself, what can I do better? What can I do to make it interesting? So this week I'm calling bullshit on, kind of becoming a victim to feeling isolated. I don't want to. I don't want to be isolated, and maybe that means I need to find a different community. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe I need to kind of tweak what I consider to be community. I'm not sure, but I know there's a journey in there, and so I'm going to share that with you guys as I move along. But as I was going along and not wanting to sit inactive about how I was feeling about everything, I decided to at least waste my time productively on YouTube and look for some ideas to do with you guys. So now we'll do the question. Now I'll answer the question that I get most often these days. It used to be I was asked often, what's it like to be an autistic woman? But because in the last 6 years, I can proudly say that so many spectrum women have stood up and shared their experience and gotten a louder voice and sort of, just created a resounding larger voice for us. And so I don't get asked that question so much anymore because so many of us are speaking. But what I still get asked the most, besides that, is what age was I diagnosed? Kind of how did that happen? And then was it worth it? And I think the question behind that, was it worth it, is, really, what does it do for you to get an adult diagnosis? Why do one, right? So I'm going to talk about those two things, and I'm going to answer it from my perspective, and I, of course, will answer it in no bullshit style with all of the honesty that I can give you. So what age was I when I got diagnosed? I had literally just turned 36 when I started the evaluation process. So that was, my birthday is in April, so it was in early May of 2012. Wow. Yeah, so I started the evaluation process, and I am now, this is fast forward, right? Now I'm 42, and this April I'll be 43. So I've got, coming up on a decade of time sitting with my diagnosis. I've kind of processed through it a whole bunch, and kind of really learned to love myself and learned to come into myself. I've grown into myself in a really, in a way I'm really proud of. But it was really fucking hard when I first got diagnosed. The first year after diagnosis was a lot of, I was really angry most of my life. I was really just angry overall. I didn't understand how things were happening or why, and a lot of things made me mad and frustrated. And I was an angry person. And the older I got, the closer to 36 I got, the more that anger turned inside. What's wrong with me? Why am I so broken? Why can't I do any of these things right? And just really taking that negative self-talk was, all that anger was turned inside to me. And so I was still angry on the outside, or miserable looking, at least on the outside, to other people. And on the inside, I was raging at myself, raging. And so right before my diagnosis, I was 3 years suicidal and in bed. I don't know how else to describe that. I was really unwell. And I'm not sure why or how I made it through those 3 years without actually going through with it. But somehow I did. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't know. And so now I do. And so I sort of stumbled upon the autism diagnosis the way that most people do, I guess, these days. I don't know, I went on the internet. I was having some migraine changes and things like that. I was curious why I was having some symptomology. And I started Googling on WebMD because I wanted to be official about what was wrong with me, but I didn't want to leave the house. And so I went through that and then eventually ended up on Wikipedia because that's where real people get their information. And you end up in like a vortex. You're clicking at the bottom and kind of just going through things. And first I found sensory processing disorder, and that rang so many bells for me. I just couldn't believe it. I knew I had stumbled onto something important. And at the bottom of that was Asperger Syndrome. I'd never heard of it before in my life. I'd never heard that word at all. And I read that entry and it changed my entire life. In those 30 seconds, everything changed. And so I went and I sought a diagnosis because I knew I had suffered for 36 years and now I might possibly have a name for what was behind all of it. So that was why I sought a diagnosis. That's the age I was when I found out that I have autism. And I had lived 36 years on this planet feeling like I was a fully broken neurotypical person. And in fact, I was just a really, really lonely, isolated, and confused, really fantastic autistic person. I like the autistic me better than the broken neurotypical me a lot. I do a lot more things. And I enjoy life a lot more because I understand who I am. So that was that. And so when people ask why seek an adult diagnosis at this point, I say you don't need to. A good chunk of us as adults figure it out. At least the women, a chunk of us figure it out because they have kids and the kids get diagnosed and then the symptomology looks so familiar and moms get diagnosed. I don't have kids, so that wasn't the situation for me. I was just really, really lucky. And so, do you seek an official diagnosis? Most people will go through the self-diagnostic process first. So there's a lot of cool tests online where you can sort of get an idea of whether or not you may or may not fall into the autism spectrum. And a lot of our folks stop there. As an adult, there's really no reason right now for you to seek a diagnosis other than that you want it for you. We don't really have great supports right now for adults. None of it is covered by insurance, so there's no reason why you want to medically, need that diagnosis. And, sometimes it comes with a bunch of stigma. So a lot of people don't want to carry that with them to whatever they do, especially when it comes into your life really late in life. And I say, you don't need to. Most people who go along the journey of trying to figure out if they're autistic really genuinely want to know. There's not a bunch of people in the world running around, gratefully saying they're autistic, yay, all over the place, that everybody wants it to come out to be that they're autistic. That's just not how it works. And so most of us that do self-diagnosis first are pretty confident and pretty honest about our questions and answers because we're really seeking to get some help. So I say if you get a self-diagnosis and that's enough for you, you personally don't need any more than that, don't. It costs us somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 for a really good diagnosis, for proper diagnosis. And so, why spend that money if you don't need to? That's what I say. I did it because I needed to know for me. I needed an unbiased outside opinion, and I needed to know that for me. I had suffered a lot with misdiagnoses, and so I really didn't want to mess around. So that's my story. That's how I got diagnosed. How about you guys share with me some shit in the comments? How about you guys share my videos? How about you subscribe right down there and make sure you ding the bell or whatever the heck for the notifications and stuff. But yeah, let's sort of share with each other. Get in contact with me. You can reach me at info@beccalaurie.com and send me an email with your questions. If you guys send me questions, I promise I'll do my best to answer them. And I'd be happy to give you a shout out if you want me to along the way. I guess that's about it for this week. I'm Becca Laurie Hector, your bullshit detector, and this is the installment of No Bullshit. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.